Hey y'all. So, how many of y'all are like into esoteric things? Like, I have like a lot of erotic like messages and like I have a lot of information and stuff that comes up for me on my social media and well across my social media. It's like pretty much that's a lot of stuff that I attract, right? And I do listen to tarot like I said, tarot is kind of like entertainment for me, but it's also like I receive my messages that I'm supposed to as well, right? Because the universe is always talking. So what resonates, resonates, and what doesn't, doesn't. And it's just interesting to me. Now, I haven't done tarot in this capacity the way that I'm doing it on such like an open platform period. Like this has just been this season. I used to get my tarot read through like I would find readers, personal readers that I connected with. So it was a couple that I would entrust because it's energy, right? You want to protect your energy, and the esoteric can be. I mean, shit. You always got somebody that's after something that is willing to um be shady or unfair for like a little bit of power, a little bit of money. Like you always have beings are going to do shit dependent. Like we are gonna vibrate on different frequencies, right? So, but like um the esoteric community, if you are so allowed to be tapped into the community, especially like across social media, it's pretty interesting. But I'll be wondering like who else is tapped in and what experiences they're having and what messages they're getting. Like it would be really cool to have like a dialogue back and forth for some stuff. But then also on the same time, like not for real because it's all kind of personal. So I don't even know how that would work, especially with all the other like telepathy or different connections, like the different energy connections and stuff. Like it's pretty interesting. And I'm just like having my own experiences, but it's interesting to see. It's kind of like who else is having certain experiences and how are we connected because I feel like I'm connected to certain people through energy and I'm like watching them connect with me, it feels like. But then I'm like, well, what experience are you having on your side? Like if I'm connecting with you and I'm tracking you across like this, like, and I can see this, but in my mind and on my frequency it looks one way, but like am I translating it the correct way? Like, and how is this possible? Like how is this connection even possible? Like where did it come from? And like on my side there's this whole connection, but it's also like, am I tripping? It's like all tying together. And then I'm like, okay, so if all of these things are connecting to me on my side, like, what is your journey like? What has things been on your side, on your frequency? Like, because I'm living my own life and I live my own journey. And like, for some people, we've had certain connections and things like that for at different times, right? Like for me, you were this person and this connection was this and this was this, like all of this stuff at one particular time. Like this is what it was for me. And then whatever you were experiencing on your side, like it was that for you. And then time went on and it was what it was for me. And then for you, whatever was happening in your life. But like they don't connect to me. Like I'm living my life and you're living your life and we're living them separately, but like somehow still connected by probably just me because like I feel like I'm the only one that's like reaching out and stuff, but it is what it is. And then like all of a sudden it's like a, I don't know, like different shifts in energy and things like that. Um so I'm just like having these experiences myself. And then I'm just like, what is that story or experience like on the other side for the other person? Like, what is that connection like? Especially for people that I may not have met yet in the physical realm that I can remember, but I am like connected, like some kind of something in your soul connected minds, or my spirit was attracted for whatever reason. Like, I'm looking over here, like, what does that even like mean on your side? Like, was your spirit calling me in, and why? Or why am I connected? And like, what was happening for you? Like, am I popping up on your frequency the same way you're popping up in mine? Like, and if I am, like, what does that journey even look like, right? Does that make sense? Like, it's just really so interesting to me, especially since a lot of my physical time is spent alone. I could possibly say, like, at some point, it was like maybe about 95%. For a while now, it's been it feels like 100% of my time is just in solitude at this point, at this time in my life. And it is what it is, but it just means that I'm like way in my head more, and like in nature, and just yeah. And so the energy connections just look different, and I don't know. All right, I guess that's enough. I'm just wondering, like, what other experiences are other people having, because like I feel alone, but also it feels like there's a lot of other stuff happening in the background, and like other people know what's going on and nobody's telling me, and like for whatever reasons, and I don't know if I'm expected to do something different or say something or whatever, and then like at some point it don't even matter because I don't have the energy to do anything but just simply be. Like, I didn't realize I was like this exhausted and this overwhelmed, which is crazy how that shift went, because I didn't think that I was. I don't know. Um, but it is what it is, right? Like, it is what it is at this point. But it's just like, so what's happening in the rest of the world? Because my world seems like pretty quiet, and also not. Like, there's so much happening, and like, I don't know if it's in my energy, but like the energy of the atmosphere, like some past energies, and I don't even know, like, there's a whole shift happening, and then it just feels like there's a lot of information coming, like a lot of downloads being received, a lot of information coming, a lot of unlocking and of memories to get healed, a lot of purging and healing happening, a lot of connection, a lot of channeling, a lot of like all of my clairs seem to be on freaking fire, and sometimes all consecutively, and sometimes like it's individual, and I'm just like, okay, okay. And then it's all of the information about myself that's coming through. And then, like, also being tapped in as a medium to some extent, and not understanding any of these gifts for real, also. But knowing that, like, there's so much happening in my background that I don't know. And then I don't be knowing what to share and what not to share. So I do got what I'm guided to share, I just share. And it's not like I don't know what to share because I care what people gonna think about me. Like, at this point, that shit is, it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't think I've cared for a long time what people think about me. But like, especially at this point, like, it is what it is. I may not be aware of a lot of things, but like consciously, like I may not have I may not have a total understanding of a lot of things. I may not be aware of some things that's happening like consciously. Um, and like I said, some stuff I feel really alone in, and a lot of stuff is coming to me, but it doesn't make sense. And it would be cool sometimes to have like somebody to like bounce it off of and to to resonate with. But it is what it is until it isn't. So that's not my reality at this point. And then like most of the time I don't even know how to adequately or accurately translate what's there to come here and out here, like what I'm seeing, what I'm tapping into, my questions, my thoughts, and my train of thoughts, like all of this stuff. I don't know how to tap in. And then I have like my ancestor messages, and I'm like, who ancestor? Like I don't know these people. Who talking to me? Who is that? I don't even know none of y'all. And then that brings up a whole other thing, like my journey is just so illuminating in so many ways. I've been aware of certain things, but it's just been my journey. But like, wow, like nope, nobody should have to really walk on this earth alone. Even though I haven't always been alone, I've still been alone, right? I'm connected to people, and I love people, and all of this other stuff. And the chosen one, huh? It don't be feeling like it at all. That's a message that I keep getting, like, you're the chosen one. Chosen for what? For what? Did I agree to this? Because people keep saying, like, I remember the first time a reader told me, like, I chose this life. I was like, oh, okay. Especially, like, where I was in religion. I was like, oh, okay, I chose this. Wow, it made me feel, like, empowered. But even then, I was like, I chose this. Like, out of everything that I could have chose, I chose this. I kind of don't even know if that's the truth. And I really, really be thinking that shit now. Like, even if I accepted it back then, like, for whatever reason I may have needed to, I chose this life. Why? And why was this even an option? Like, why is this shit still in the programming? Why are we still offering these courses? For fucking what? What do we need them for? Who is the creator of this shit? What is his default? Like, hey man, wipe that nigga off all the memory. Wipe him out of anything. Take that code and fucking delete it. Because why? Who even thought that that needed it to be something that our children needed to go through that type of anything to be here? Like, what? Who did you attribute that credit to? Oh, so that they can be considered what? They don't have to go through all that to be considered God, to be considered worthy, to be considered warriors. Like, we can do that differently, right? That's how it should be. But my reality has been my reality for whatever reason. It's been disappointing in many areas, and then I just learned how to adapt and acclimate. I learned what I didn't want a lot from what I didn't want. What I had and I did not want. I was like, hey, I do not want this shit. I do not have to repeat this. This is not what it is. And we gonna do the best of what we have, and everything is valuable. You can find value in everything. You can be grateful for something in everything, whatever that is. Even if that's what gets me out uh, uh, out of the funk for the day or gets me through the day. Like, some days I'm just lying in the bed and I'm not gonna get up until like my body tells me that I can get up. And that's a win today. And I want to have as many days as possible to where I can just be able to do exactly what my body and my soul wants me to do. And how do I make that happen in this society, in this world, in this chaos with the tools that I have and the resources that I have, and just being considerate of me. Like, what's the softest life that I can make for myself with the tools that I have after everything I've been through? And that's kind of like been my journey for a very long time, with all of the obstacles against me. And this journey has kind of been like really lonely sometimes, or a lot of times. So just learn how to deal with it, because at the end of the day, I have myself. And like, I just kind of had the um mentality, or the perception, I guess, that like people could be offended when I say that I feel alone, or I spend like so much of my time alone, and or that I feel like overwhelmed and underwhelmed, or whatever comments that I make, whatever my truths are that I say. Like, I just realized that people could possibly take my words and like be offended about them, or it could make them feel less than. And that was like, if that is accurate, if that's the accurate message or whatever download that I received, um, that's never my intent. But I just tell my truth, and I guess I could be concerned about how people feel about my truth. I'm not really, though, because it's my truth, and when I make comments, it's not to diminish or anybody, or hurt anybody, or diminish like my relationships and how I feel about people or anything, because the people that are special to me are special to me. The relationships that I have, and I have just like learned to accept them for who and what they are, because, well, that's really all you can do, right? Like, well, for me, it's just love. Love is love, and acceptance is acceptance. And I just kind of accept that everybody is different, and everybody needs different things, and everybody want different things, and it's okay. So I take joy in the things that in the things and the people that are allowed in my frequency, and who I'm allowed in their frequency at the same time, and we want to be. So that's the things that I appreciate. I appreciate mutual time, mutual benefits, and to me, it's a lot more. It's valuable, because although sometimes like it's like, yes, I would prefer more, but it's also valuable because it's like we wanted to spend time, like both of us wanted to connect at the same time, the same day, the same moment. Our both of our energies wanted to be around each other, whatever that meant. And whatever we may have wanted, like we both decided on something, and didn't feel like, especially for me, like I decided that I could accept something without feeling like I was sacrificing myself. Um, like, okay, this is what you can give. Like, you just told me what you can give me. And do I want to accept that? You know what? I can work with that. That's cool. Like, that wasn't a measure of how important I was, or what, like, what place I had in your life. It was just, I see how busy you are. I see what you got going on. I see life. I understand your obstacles, and I'm me. And I have a lot of freedoms, and I have a lot of privileges that most people my age and don't. In my group, my generation, they just don't, period. Period. And so I recognize that, and I'm like, so out of everything that you have going on in your life, you wanted to spend some time with me. You wanted to expend energy on me, whatever that was. And this is the environment that you like. This is what you have to give. Whether it is in the sanctity of your home, because I don't really go to everybody's home. and if I not in like a certain capacity, so if it's that, then okay. If I feel comfortable enough and I feel like that's an intimate gesture in itself for some, I value that because there are people that are very private about where they live at. So I'm like, okay, um, I get it. And that's what it is then. And I can do that because I don't necessarily have to go out. It's really most of the time. Sometimes I want to go out, like let's try some stuff, but oftentimes it's just like I just want to be in your energy. And what does that mean? What does that mean for us? Like whatever exchange we're gonna have, that's what I want to have, and let's do that. So I've always been appreciative for that. And then there are some times where I'm like, um, yeah, I definitely deserve better. So I'm gonna pull out of this. It's been nice, and I don't want these exchanges anymore. I don't know what that means for later, but this I don't want to do this. And I'll be saying everything works until it doesn't. And I don't always know what that means when I say it. It just work until it don't. It work until I don't want to do it anymore. It work until you don't want to do it anymore. It work until the universe pull us apart. It work until what it doesn't work. Like, and I guess I just realized like so much of my stuff could be taken like negatively, depending on the ears that hear it and how they perceive me. Because most people will perceive me from their view, their perception, their experience, however they hear, however they see, whatever they filters are, whatever they shit is, right? And I never really that's not my responsibility. I don't care. Like it's not my job to figure out how you're hearing me or how you're seeing me or how you're receiving me or how you feel about it. Like I don't give a shit. Not to that extent. Like how do I feel about myself and because of who I am and because I know the things that I speak, like my heart, what I mean, what I say. I know the things that I value. I know the things that I cherish. I know how I try to be careful with what I say and considerate what I say. Like, and I know the filters that I have. I know how I see things. I know how I see people. Like, I know the love that I have and the respect and like all this other stuff. Like, I know me, so I don't be giving a shit when people like when I say something, however you receive that is how you receive it. And you can ask questions if you need more clarification. I ask questions when I need to know more stuff, and sometimes I don't know. Like sometimes I don't want to know, sometimes I don't care to know, and sometimes I feel like it ain't none of my business. Like if I wanted to do something, then I wanted to do it, and whatever you have going on in the background, like I'll ask more questions when I want to know more questions because some stuff it just like why do I need to know like some stuff I feel like it's not any of my business. I guess like I feel like if you want to share it you'll share it, and I don't really I guess I thought I shared stuff but I guess I don't because people don't ask questions. Like I used to ask questions about so much stuff, and I don't know, I used to think I was feeling like I was prying, or people used to be so secretive and hiding shit, or it was always just extra, and I was just like, you know what? I don't even have to know for real. Like, you acting like it's a big deal because you're telling, like, I don't have to know. It's not, you know what? We're not together. I'm not necessarily trying to combine life with you. Like, right now, this is a fucking interview process for real. It's an interview process. I'm trying to see what fits, what doesn't. I'm gathering information. I'm seeing what you want to do, what you're willing to do, like, I'm just filling this out authentically, organically, and whatever it is, it is. So today is this, and until it gradually increases to something else, or spontaneously increases to something else, or maybe it's just going to be this, and that's okay too. So I guess that's how I am with relationships, and that may make sense to some people, and I know a lot of people it don't, because I remember the times when I was just like, oh my goodness, oh my ear, like I remember when I was younger, and it was like you have to be my man or I have to get married. Like I was so glad when on some aspect, like after I got out of it, I was so glad when I walked away from the church. I was like, oh my gosh, like the clarity that came, the mental clarity, the mental strength, the freedom, the empowerment that came from like freedom and being out of the clutches of somebody else, like a system telling me everything. Like, it's like everything that I was told I had to believe or I had to do, like, or had to be, that shit went down the drain. That shit went to, like, I love who I was, like, literally evolved into, who I was allowed to explore, like different parts of myself that evolved throughout that journey, after the journey, the things I allow myself to open up to and to see. And yeah, and I probably never went back and apologized to anybody that I made feel uncomfortable, anybody that I brought into any of them cultish ass systems, or anybody who I may have even hurt on my journey out. Cause well, I didn't think that I was like rah rah rah, but then I've seen people coming out of their journey, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I can see how I could have been that way. Like, hey, but it wasn't necessarily coming from judgment from me. It was more like not from the person, definitely of the system, and definitely like wanting us to know better and do better. And then at some point realizing like, because I had so many people coming against me that I was close to, like I projected that everywhere. And sometimes people might have not meant anything by some of the questions they was asking, but that energy that was coming up was like always like, okay. And then like until I learned to stop engaging or stop saying stuff, like my journey changed, and it no longer became like important for me to share my information for whatever reason I was trying to share it, whether I felt like I was giving information, whether I felt like I was like trying to help somebody before they got to where I was at before. Like, maybe if I can open your eyes, I could save you some stuff. Like, some of it might have just been trying to figure it out. And then one day I was like, hey, I don't even care what you do for real. Like, that's your life, that's your relationship. And I did get that from like, I think I was already feeling like that. And then like talking to my best friend at the time, one of the times, who was like, it didn't matter. Like, one of the conversations we had, and it just like resonated, and it was like, it don't matter. Like, I really don't care what you believe in or what you do, if it's making you happy, if it's not harming anybody. Like, I can keep all my information to myself, because all of this stuff that comes along with it really ain't that important to me. I don't really care to have a discussion, especially like, I don't want to debate. Discussion is fine, but I don't want to debate. I don't have no agenda. I'm not trying to change your mind. I don't want you trying to change my mind. I'm not trying to make you see things. Like, I just like to have a conversation. I just like to discuss certain things and see where you coming from and see where I'm coming from. Like, it's no agenda. Just like to have discussions, open discussions, because they're fun to me. It's fun to me to see different people's perspectives and see what people know or what people don't know and what they want to share. Like, you learn a lot, but most people be having an agenda. So I love like when I feel like I can get with some people and there's no agenda. We just vibing, whatever that means.